hello, mabuhay! Naimbag na bigat kada kayo amin, or I should say, good morning. I'm Rizal Mendoza, or you can call me Ataray, your tour guide for today. I'd like to welcome you to my province, one of the most historically rich locations in the country, all mixes the colorful Ilocano culture with colonial Spanish heritage. Known for its centuries-old architecture, Ilocos is the perfect destination for history buffs and curious travelers alike. So let's all discover the rich heritage and culture of Ilocos, where places to see, ways to wonder, and signature experiences. Are you all excited? Alright, the Ilocos region is a popular tourist destination because of the delicious food, historical attractions, and natural wonders. The province of Ilocos matches this description perfectly. The driving distance between Manila to Vigan is 404 kilometers, and it takes approximately 6 hours to drive from Manila to Vigan. The Ilocos region was already thriving, fairly advanced cluster of towns and settlements familiar to Chinese, Japanese, and Malay traders when the Spaniards explored Don Juan de Salcedo and members of his expedition arrived in Vigan on June 13, 1572. Forthwith, they made Kabigbigaan, the heart of the Ilocos settlement, their headquarters, which Salcedo called Villa Fernandina, and which eventually gained fame as the Intramuros of Ilocandia. Salcedo declared the whole northern Luzon as an encomienda. Subsequently, he became the encomendero of Bigan and lieutenant governor of the Ilocos until his death in July 1574. Augustinian missionaries joined the military forces in conquering the region through evangelization. They established parishes and built churches that still stand today. 3 centuries later, Vigan became the seat of the Archdiocese of Nueva Segovia. A royal decree of February 2, 1818 separated Ilocos Norte from Ilocos Sur, the latter to include the northern part of La Union and all of what is now the province of Abra, the sub-province of Lepanto, and Aburayan in Mount Province were annexed to Ilocos Sur. The passage of Act 2683 by the Philippine Legislature in March 1917 defined the present geographical boundary of the province. The names of famous men and women of Ilocos Sur stand in bold relief in Philippine history. Pedro Bocanek is the father of Iloco literature. Isabelo de los Reyes will always be remembered as the father of the Filipino labor movement. His wife, Leona Florentino, was the most outstanding Filipino women writer of the Spanish era. Vicente Singson Encarnacion, an exemplary statesman, was also a noted authority on business and industry. Are you still with me? If yes, may I hear you say naragsak? Perfect! Let me briefly describe the history of the province before we go on a tour. Before the coming of the Spaniards, the coastal plains in northwestern Luzon, stretching from Bangi, Ilocos Norte, in the north to Macpacan, Luna, and La Union in the south, were as a whole known as a progressive region called the Ilocos. This region lies between the China Sea in the west and northern Cordilleras in the east. The inhabitants built their villages near the small bays on coves called Loo in the dialect. These coastal inhabitants were referred to as Ilocos, which meant from the lowlands. The entire region was then called by the ancient name Samtoy from Saoditoy, which in Ilocano means our dialect. The region was later called by the Spaniards Ilocos or Ilocos, and its people Ilocanos. Ilocos Sur occupies the central section of the Ilocos region in northern Luzon. Ilocos Sur is bordered by Ilocos Norte and Abra to the north, Mountain Province to the east, La Union and Benguet to the south, and the South China Sea to the west. Its area of 2,596 square kilometers or 1,002.32 square meters occupies about 20% of the total land area of Region 1. The topography of Ilocos Sur ranges from 10 to 1,700 meters or 33 to 5,577 feet above sea level. Ilocos Sur comprises 32 municipalities and 2 component cities which are organized into 2 legislative districts. There are a total of 768 barangays, whereas Vigan City serves as the provincial capital of Ilocos Sur. Before we proceed, I would like to check first your internet connections, and if you have any question you want to ask, don't hesitate to unmute yourself or click the raise hand button to call my attention. And I will do my best to answer your questions. Is that clear, my dear tourists? Alright, it seems like everyone is here, so I'm glad that nobody is late today. Tourists, for our trip itinerary, there are 6 destinations that we can feel alive and excited about. So what are you waiting for? Let's go! Welcome to Ilocos Sur, or also known as the Heritage Village of the Philippines. While it's undoubtedly fascinating, Ilocos Sur is more than the cobblestone streets of Vigan. The province is known for its rich culture and history, heritage sites, adventure park, and of course, food. Vigan is famous for its well-preserved Spanish colonial town, historical vegan tourist spots, and delicious foods and delicacies. Because of its charm, it has been inscribed as one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Vigan is unique for having preserved much of its Hispanic colonial character, particularly its grid, street pattern, and historic urban layout. Its significance also lies in how the different architectural influences are blended to create a homogeneous townscape. It is in the northern part of Luzon, one of the Philippines' main islands. It serves as the capital of Ilocos and has been a major political and trading center since before the Spanish colonizers arrived in the Philippines. Its 2,511 hectares of land consists mostly of plains with gentle hills. It is bounded on the north by the municipality of Bantay, on the east by the municipality of Santa, and on the south by the municipality of Kawayan, and on the west by the municipality of Santa Catalina, and lastly on the southwest by the China Sea. It is 408 kilometers from Manila and 80 kilometers from Luwag City and 139 kilometers from San Fernando, La Union. It has a total land area of 2,886.085 hectares or 28.86085 square kilometers. The heart of Vigan is located approximately between the meridian 120-2315 east longitude and the parallel 17-3430 north latitude. So, are you ready to our first destination? It sounds like you are all excited. For your information, my dear tourists, most of the famous tourist spots in Ilocos comprises all churches that are worth visiting. Among the notable ones is the Santa Maria Church, or also known as Nuestra Señora de la Ascensión. Standing tall on top of a hill, it is one of the 4 Baroque churches of the Philippines that is inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Santa Maria Church is a complex art of clay bricks and mortar. Consequently, it becomes the center of attractions for tourists. It is a perfect haven for people who love to explore ancient culture and history. The long staircase that leads to the church imparts paradisiacal qualities to the church. The parish of Santa Maria was originally located in Narvacan in 1567. It was dedicated to the Virgin Mary under the title of Our Lady of Assumption. But Virgin Mary was enthroned at a different place called Bulala. After frequently disappearances, she was found to be perched on a guava tree. The townspeople then decided upon shifting the church to its present location. The instruction started in 1765. During the renovation of the church, the bell tower and the protective walls were constructed in 1810 and 1863 respectively. The bell tower was remodeled the same year, imposing a slightly leaning or tilting structure as it appears today. Also, the church was initially constructed using bamboo sticks, but later on, the local materials were replaced by hard construction to give longer life to the church. For our second destination is St. Paul's Metropolitan Cathedral, or also known as Vigan Cathedral. One of the amazing historical sites in Vigan St. Paul Metropolitan Cathedral, popularly known as Vegan Cathedral, is an old church in the Ilocos region located at the front of Plaza Salcedo and beside Plaza Burgos. The first vegan cathedral was built and ordered by Juan de Salcedo, the conquistador and founder of Villa Fernandina, now vegan, in 1574. It was originally made of wood and thatch. It features neo-Gothic and pseudo-Romanesque motifs. It was reconstructed in 1641 and completed its present Baroque-style building in 18,000. Its bell tower stands separately in Plaza Burgos. The bell tower is about 25 meters high and it is surmounted by a large bronze weathercock that is said to symbolize Saint Peter. It only became a cathedral when the seat of the Diocese of Nueva Segovia was transferred from Cagayan to Vigan in 1758. St. Paul Cathedral is one of the landmarks of Philippine Catholicism and the pride of Northern Luzon. Its interior is admired by many visitors. It has a main altar with silver wheaten panels. The facade features Chinese lion dog ornaments, and above the main doorway is an alcove depicting the conversion of St. Paul. The four dogs design carved above its outermost doors is a testament to Vigan's strong Chinese heritage. It is a part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site declaration for the historic town of Vigan in 1999. So for our third destination is the Calle Crisologo. Though only 500 meters long, Calle Crisologo is one of the most beautiful streets in the Philippines. It boasts a dense concentration of centuries-old stone houses, lovely tungsten lamps, and antique cobblestone where horse-drawn carriages or calesas still to this day are used for transport. The street is a pedestrian-only zone, save for calesas favored for touring the historic sites around town. A few of the ancestral houses have become restaurants that serve Ilocos bagnet, or also known the deep fried pork belly and empanadas. Some are now inns and souvenir shops for traditional Inabol linen. Many handsomely crafted wooden benches are positioned throughout Calle Crisologo for visitors. Calle Crisologo owes its name to the illustrious Ilocano poet, writer, and playwright Governor Marcelino Mena Crisologo. Previously, the street was called Calle de Escolta de Vigan, whose residents were mostly families who profited from the galleon trade that included Ilocos as a key port. When Governor Crisologo died in 1927, the street was renamed Calle Crisologo in his honor. The street is a part of Vigan's picturesque Heritage Village, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This consists of about 200 beautifully restored houses dating back on the 16th century. The buildings on Crisologo particularly display a blend of indigenous Filipino and colonial European construction. It took 10 years for Vigan to be named a World Heritage Site since it was submitted for consideration in 1989. The town was long rejected for inclusions, reportedly because it could not compare with Spanish colonial cities such as Cartagena, Colombia, and Trinidad, Cuba. Many houses in Calle Crisologo were owned not only by scions of Spanish settlers but also by wealthy Chinese who migrated to Ilocos to set up businesses. calling to the city's rich history as a trading post ultimately proved effective. Our fourth destination is the Sikya Mansion. Of the many historical landmarks you can find within Vigan, one that stands out above the rest is the Sikya Mansion. Once resided by the Sikya family, with one of its members marrying former Philippine President and Vigan native Elpidio Quirino. The Sikya Mansion has since been transformed into a public museum displaying not only the various artifacts owned by the family and the late president, but also an architectural marvel the best encapsulates Vigan's unique charm. As an ancestral home turned museum, Sikya Mansion gives its visitors a rare glimpse into a high society vegan life during the 18,000s. Everything you see within the house tells a history over a century old, from its heirlooms to its halls. Even before you enter, Sikya Mansion is already a thread of history and architecture buffs. The stone exteriors design has been preserved for over a century, making it a true artifact from the Spanish colonial period. Those architectural feats extend to its interiors, with its unique stone walls and windows decorated with shells. Entering its doors is like traveling back in time, as you'll see dozens of artifacts, paintings, and furniture around the mansion. From the horse-drawn carriage right at the entrance to the family portraits painted by Fernando Amorsolo. One of the country's national artists, the Sikya Mansion has a lot to offer. Get ready for our last destination, which is the Padre Burgos house. The ancestral two-story structures is firstly notable for being the birthplace of Father Jose Burgos, priest and patriot famously martyred by the Spanish authorities on February 17, 1872 for suspicion of supporting the Cavite Mutiny. Together with Reverend Mariano Gomez and Reverend Jacinto Zamora, they are commemorated with the portmanteau Gomborza. Father Burgos' house was renovated by the Filipinas Foundation (INC) and re-inaugurated on May 3, 1975. In January 1989, a contract of lease was executed by the Ilocos Historical and Cultural Foundation Incorporation, and the administration of the ancestral house was turned over to the National Museum of the Philippines to become its Vigan regional branch. The building is located at the terminus of Burgos Street, fronting Plaza Martires. It is adjacent to the preserved old provincial jail of Ilocos, acquired and upgraded in, and together the two comprise the National Museum of the Philippines Ilocos Complex. The Padre Burgos house is noteworthy for being a representation of an inside preservation of a Spanish-era colonial mansion. Despite its adaptive reuse into museum, details of layers of history are demonstrated in the house. It is configured on a north to south axis and is built of brick and wood with a steeply pitched roof, elements that are homogeneous to the rest of the preserved colonial buildings in the historic town of Vigan. After visiting the attractions here in Vigan City, souvenir shops abound. If you are looking for little trinkets, food items, or pasalubong that would remind you of your trip to Vigan, you'll be thrilled to know that you can find tons of shops for all those things in Vigan City Public Market. Vegan City Public Market is the place to go to if you want to buy everything you need in one place. On the second floor, you can find different food items, but there is a whole section there dedicated to just bagnet and longanisa. Some stores sell bagnet chicharon. Longanisa is sold by the dozen from 100 pesos to 120 pesos. Bagnet is sold at 360 pesos per kilo. In another section of the second floor are local delicacies. You will find that the different version of the bibingka is sold there. As opposed to the royal bibingka, which is individually wrapped, this version of bibingka is almost as big as a plate and only half an inch thick. So my dear tourists, do you have any questions or clarifications before we end our tour? Please don't hesitate to unmute yourself, or you can also click the raise hand button to call my attention. So it seems like you don't have any questions at all, and I think it's time to say goodbye. Again, my name is Raisel Tagada Mendoza, or you can call me Ate Rai, and I have been your virtual tour guide for today. I am beyond happy being with you. Agyamanak unay kanyayo, sapay ta agkikita tay tumanen. Or I should say, goodbye and I'll see you until our next tour. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed traveling with me and I wish you all well. Hoping to see you visit here in my beloved province, Ilocos. And when uploading your photos, don't forget to use the hashtag #SureIlocosur. Don't forget also to like and share the video. Thank you.